Okay, let's welcome our next guest, Sonia, to let's have a look at her personal opinions upon this overseas trip. Like, have you ever think of like going overseas for your study?
Yes, and actually I was planning on to achieve my graduate degree overseas.
And actually, like, what do you think you can get money from, like your financial support?
So firstly, I was considering to get the scholarship, whether from the especially from the dream school that I was applying to. However, I think if that is not enough, I may also consider the support from my family.
Like, what do you think of this kind of investment? Do you think it's well worthy, or do you think it's too expensive?
Well, firstly, I think whether it is expensive is actually depends on your personal family conditions, financial conditions, and I think of course a lot of people will think that overseas study is too expensive, especially compared to the tuition fees in our own country. However, I think the kind of academic atmosphere or also the education that we receive are totally different. So actually, I think it should not be compared with just by money or the financial conditions.
Actually, like, which country are you planning to apply for?
I was thinking about Britain.
So why you want to choose Britain?
I was kind of like the country Britain that maybe they're not as open as American. However, I think their history are much longer, and I especially like their kind of strict and quiet academic environment.
Okay, and have you ever like taken some language tests like TOEFL, IELTS tests?
Actually, I have taken IELTS tests.
And what do you think of the credibility of these language tests? Like, for example, there are many, like, there's some like cheating phenomenon in China recently, and what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I heard of this kind of news on TV, but actually I do not know any persons who actually experienced this kind of cheating phenomenon. So I'm really not sure whether it is true or not.
Okay, and like when you are planning apply for your dream university, like would you like to choose some intermediate like agent, or you want to do application by yourself?
Actually, I think for some people who really know very clearly about what their dream universities are or what kind of major they're going to apply, of course they can do it by DIY. However, I think for some kind of people, for example like me, I was sometimes really confused, and I was sometimes do not really have the impulse to force myself to make the decisions. So actually I need to have this kind of agents to help me to maybe make some choices or make some timelines.
And actually, like when you choose to go abroad, like what do you think of this kind of train, like this kind of international interaction, like foreign students come to China and Chinese students go abroad? What was your opinion on that?
I think firstly, of course, it is a really good chance for the communications between different cultures, and I also think that because many people nowadays have this kind of financial support, so it is really good for us to look at some different perspectives and see some different kind of educations, not just limited in our own country, but to have different experience.
And actually, like, what's the most difficult thing you are facing when you are like having this kind of idea, or like when you are just like doing things like language tests? Like, what's your pressures like recently you have?
I think when I was applying, actually the most difficult thing I was facing was there are many different choices. I have to think about what is the most suitable major for me and what is the most suitable universities. So I think that is the most pressure part. You need to consider a lot of things. And I think actually the other also difficult thing is that to consider that you have to study abroad means that you have to actually be isolated without any support from your family or maybe your friends. So actually, I think that is also the very difficult part.
Yeah, that's true. And actually, like, what do you think of like the many choices? You have talked about choices. Like, actually, you can choose to have your further education in China, or just abroad, or just like go to work. So, what do you think of this kind of like these different choices?
I think these choices can need to based on many different factors. For example, the first thing you need to consider maybe is your family's financial conditions. So I think that is very important factor. And also the second one, I think maybe it's based on your future development. For example, like I was an English major student, so I think it is really quite important or maybe significant for us to kind of feel this different atmosphere overseas. So actually, I think that is the two factors we need to consider.
Yeah, when you talk about like future planning, like would you like come back to China after your graduation, or you would like to like stay in that country?
Actually, I was only thinking about to study abroad, but I never really thinking about to working or maybe to start family overseas. However, I think that is just my kind of ideas now, that I really
Yes,
don't
it's gonna
know
change.
yeah what is going to be in the future.
That's true. Okay, like anyway, thank you and thanks for your like time and your personal perspectives. Thank you. We're gonna know more information, more opinions from different people. Like we're gonna have more opinions from some teachers in this field.